And another very special guest, I guess a fellow Western entertainer, much like Slim was, is going to come up here. So why don't we put our hands together here for the Joker and the famous trick roper, Bud Edgar, right here.
Yo, how about another round of applause, or a big one for Billy here. Good job, Billy. Now I get to talk about myself. Now the one good thing about an egotist is we never talk about anybody else. But I'm going to make an exception. I've actually been a clown for full-time for 40 years. I started as Buddy the Clown, and I did a cowboy clown called Bronco Buddy the Clown, and now I just trick rope as a Joker trick roper. I got to meet Slim, and we bonded through the clowning. And it's actually, ladies and gentlemen, what they say is it's the smell of the grease paint and the roar of the crowd. And we would go on talking the phone a lot. We'd go to the Blackfoot truck stop and have banana cream pie. We'd come here, and this was his stomping ground. He loved it here. You know, he's been here since '72, since they opened. And he's got his wall of fame over here, he's got his table over here, and he played Santa Claus all over here, and he's done all kinds of things. And I always teased him, I said, yeah, but look, they serve Bud beer here. He says, it's not about you, man, that Bud was wiser. Oh, hi, you gotta laugh, be careful now. So anyway, him and I enjoyed talking about what he did, and I was so interested in his stories about Buddy Heaton and all the things he did and all that. But Slim was actually very humble, which I didn't realize till I read this stuff lately about him, because he never talked about that. He never talked about his work with the amateur rodeo and the police rodeo and those kind of things. But I'll tell you, he was one hell of a guy. Here's a joke for you. Do you know the difference between football, baseball, and rodeo? Those first two sports, you only need one ball to play them. My rodeo buddies say it's a good way. You do a lot of traveling, you make a lot of friends, and you can meet a lot of nurses. That's rodeo. Ladies and gentlemen, my big question, and a lot of people ask, what is the most dangerous part of rodeo? Now Slim would tell you it'd be the bullfighting, right? And my buddy Alan Gurlitz would say it'd be the bull riding. Ivan Daines would say it'd be the bronc riding. The Willards would say it's the chuck wagon racing, and Shelley would say it'd be the trick riding. But I want to tell you for a fact, it's what I do. It's the trick roping, and I'll tell you why I know that. Because I've been introduced, and when I've heard him say, Bud Edgar's going to trick rope, I've seen people get hurt, run into the concession stand and the bar. And that's how it works, right? Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to do something special for you. We had a cowboy prayer. I'd like to do the clown prayer for you, if I can remember it. As I stumble through this life, help me greet more laughter than tears, more happiness than sorrow. Let me spread more cheer than despair. Never let me become so indifferent that I fail to see the wonders in the eyes of a child, or the twinkle in the eyes of the aged. Never let me forget that my sole purpose is to cheer people, make them smile, and take their mind off their unpleasantly in their lives. And my final reward, my final hour, may I hear you whisper, you made my people smile, you made me smile. Amen. It is there it is. But anyway, I'd also like to say I'm very humbled and honored to be able to talk about my hero Slim, and I want to thank you for your time. But before I do that, we talked about the roar of the smell of the makeup and the roar of the crowd. I'd like you all on the count of three to help me give Slim one last big roar of the crowd, but I'm going to ask you all to stand up and give him a big round of applause, stand an ovation, and some sort of big cheer. Can we do that together? 1, 2, 3. There you go. He's up there, and I love you, brother. All right.
Thank you, bud. Great job up there.